1. Antonio Banderas, Maximus Decimus Meridius, Gladiator. David Franzoni, who co-wrote the script, had Antonio Banderas in mind initially to play the iconic lead role. Banderas declined the role, and for a short time, Mel Gibson, Tom Sizemore, and Tom Cruise were considered for the part. In the end, legendary director Ridley Scott, the studio, and producers of the film were so impressed with relative newcomer Russell Crowe after his performance in both LA Confidential and The Insider that he ended up landing the role.
Today I saw a slave become more powerful than the Emperor of Rome.
Number 2. John Cusack, Walter White, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad creator Vince Gilligan always had Bryan Cranston as his absolute main choice for Walter White after working with Cranston on Drive, an episode of The X-Files, and being incredibly impressed with the actor's range. Gilligan knew that Bryan was his man. AMC officials, however, were not fully convinced and were in talks with John Cusack and Matthew Broderick about the show. However, they both declined the role. After AMC executives watched the X-Files episode that Gilligan was talking about, they were blown away with Cranston and saw him as a great fit for Mr. White and backed show creator Gilligan on his choice.
Stay out of my territory.
Number 3. Heath Ledger, Llewellyn Moss, No Country for Old Men. This all-time classic, the modern-day masterpiece, No Country for Old Men, directed by the Coen brothers, had the cool Josh Brolin as our main man, Llewellyn Moss. The character of Llewellyn Moss was originally offered to Heath Ledger, but he turned it down to spend time with his newborn daughter Matilda. The powerful Garrett Dillahunt also auditioned 5 times for the role, but ended up playing Wendell alongside Tommy Lee Jones's character. Josh Brolin, who was working on Grindhouse at the time, a double feature with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, was able to shoot his audition tape using the cameras, equipment, and creative genius of both legendary directors. Safe to say, he nailed his audition tape.
Maybe he's the one who needs to be worried about me.
He isn't. You're not cut out for this. You're just a guy who happened to find those vehicles.
Number 4. Helen Mirren, Ellen Ripley, Alien. Sigourney Weaver landed the butt-kicking, trailblazing character of Ripley in Ridley Scott's Alien saga, a role that changed the game for Hollywood female characters and laid a bedrock that still inspires films to this day. Weaver was pretty new on the scene, and a number of more established actresses did audition or were considered for the role, including Catherine Ross and Meryl Streep. Helen Mirren was closing in pretty hard to take the action hero role, having read the script and also auditioning for the part. In the end, it was not meant to be, and Sigourney Weaver scored the role, and, well, she absolutely nailed it. In a different world, maybe even an Oscar winner.
You've been in my life so long, I can't remember anything else. Now do something for me.
Number 5. Amy Adams, Veronica Corningstone, Anchorman. Our favorite San Diego news team nearly had Amy Adams leading the desk. Amy Adams did indeed audition for the role of Veronica Corningstone in the all-time awesome Anchorman. Christina Applegate landed the role in the end, and damn, she's good at news.
You're a real hooker, and I'm going to slap you in public.
Number 6. Marilyn Monroe, Holly Golightly, Breakfast at Tiffany's. This old Hollywood staple landed on our screens in 1961 and had the beautiful Audrey Hepburn in the main role. Adapted from Truman Capote's novel, this classic was nominated for 5 Academy Awards. Paramount Studios and Capote himself were looking for Marilyn Monroe to take the lead. Even the screenwriter was hired to tailor the screenplay for Monroe. Monroe ended up turning it down and went on to star in The Misfits. Hepburn ended up taking the role, and the rest is history.
Oh, I love New York.
Then why are you leaving?
What's in it for you anyway?
Look, I know what you're thinking, and I don't blame you. I've always thrown out such a jazzy line.
Number 7. Denzel Washington, Ray Charles, Ray. Ray is considered by many to be alongside films like Walk the Line and Elvis in the list of greatest musical biopics of all time. The role ended up with Jamie Foxx, who was universally praised for his performance and took home an Oscar for his work. However, powerhouse actor Denzel Washington was offered the role but passed.
If you ever plan to travel west,
Them ain't bad.
yeah, I'd say you saved their asses.
Number 8. Meryl Streep and Sissy Spaic, Princess Leia, Star Wars. In a galaxy filled with iconic characters, few are as beloved as Princess Leia. Before the late, great Carrie Fisher landed the role, other actresses were actually considered for the part. Meryl Streep auditioned, but at the time was just a little young for the role. Sissy Spaic, the cinema powerhouse and Oscar winner, was definitely in the running and probably would have delivered a great performance. But in the end, she chose to pursue other projects. Carrie Fisher gave a stellar performance alongside a badass cast.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away!
Number 9. Jeff Bridges, Dr. Jones, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Harrison Ford, one of the most beloved actors in film history, ended up playing the classic hero Indiana Jones. But did you know that before Harrison Ford landed the role, Jeff Bridges was pretty close to stealing the show? Casting director Mike Fenton favored Bridges with actor Tom Selleck in a deadly second place. But Selleck ended up dropping out due to commitments to the television series Magnum P.I. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were looking for a relatively unknown actor to play the part. But after Spielberg saw Harrison Ford in The Empire Strikes Back, he thought Ford was a perfect fit for the part. They drew up a contract and got cracking.
Let us hurry. There is nothing to fear here.
That's what scares me.
Number 10. Everyone, Dr. Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange. Before we fell in love with Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, Marvel was talking to pretty much everyone trying to find a good fit for the super sorcerer. They had high hopes for Benedict to take the role, but scheduling conflicts made it seem just a little out of reach. They asked Joaquin Phoenix, who then declined. Marvel then placed Ethan Hawke, Oscar Isaac, Jake Gyllenhaal, Colin Farrell, Keanu Reeves, Ewan McGregor, and Matthew McConaughey on their shortlist, and pretty much approached all of them. Marvel did admit later that even while in talks with other actors, Benedict Cumberbatch was still the actor they wanted to grace the cape. Finally, they were able to fix the scheduling issues, tailoring the production to allow Benedict to jump on board.
You ever had that dream where you're falling as if you've been pushed off a tall building? That was probably me.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments.